when you think about it, you really do sign a user agreement. And one thing in the book that I really want people to really consider is we have to get rid of the language of addiction in the actual license that we actually sign with software companies. And I prefer that software companies start thinking about human agreements. Now, this is a new area of the law, and it's a philosophical side of the law, but let me explain my point. We're getting into AI that is perfect, meaning it will reproduce a certain set of conditions over and over again, always the same. No human being can do that. We can't repeat things over and over and do it always the same. Therefore, there's a potential for a human being to make mistakes. And when we post something because we've had a night out and we're embarrassed by it in the morning because we did things we're not proud of, we should be able to delete that mistake from our lives. In the old days, you used to take photographs with film. You used to go and get the film processed, look at the photos, and how many photos would go into the trash can. Come on, let's be honest. You guys were part of that. Probably half your roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not all good, right?
They're not all good. And there are some memories you realize, I don't really want to save that memory. Now, the good part of the old days is when you had to choose your photographs that way because you were buying them, you were more selective. But today they're all free. So we don't think about it and we don't select. So we let the corporations now with artificial intelligence filter us, group us, know what our politics, what our food desires are, who we hang out with, what movies we go to, what parts of the city we like to hang out in, all with geolocation technologies. In other words, where we are, they actually monitor us. So going back to YouTube and Google, you guys heard about YouTube, well, about Google's AI, Gemini, being biased. And what actually happened
Yes.
was we came out into the world, and first thing people do is please represent in imagery, historical figures, and every historical figure was anything but white. And then everyone was in uproar about Gemini's AI being racist or being very opinionated. Now, this is very interesting. The truth is, the Gemini AI is one of the most extremely used artificial intelligent systems in the world because Google uses it in almost every part of their business. What people didn't realize, the search part of the business that was using the AI to bring it to let people use it through search, they interjected the wokeness or the principles by how the searches would go a layer above the AI. And so now that they've injected their preference through filters, so you put in something, search world leaders, then the search gets changed to search world leaders, but give them a diverse outcome. You understand, or diverse skin, whatever. That's added after you put your search in. This is how go spanning and other things occur. You're searching, and then another layer of the search is filtering you into other places in the search algorithm without your permission. So Gemini it's incapable of being racist because Gemini just reports algorithmically what it sees. So if it in the context of history sees that history has a whole bunch of paintings with white people in it, it would report back that those historical figures were white because that's what it sees. It doesn't have an emotional response. It doesn't think about, oh my gosh, I'm a human being and my ancestors were wrong by what happened, and then react to that. We do that. That's us reacting to AI. And that's the big distinction. So Gemini, Google's AI, is pretty solid. But when people got involved and changed the search conditions, they literally, in their complete absence of thought, damaged the ability for Google to release AI to the world because a whole bunch of people decided that they would affect search. And by doing so, they discredited AI. And the irony is, AI had nothing to do with what happened at Google. Are you guys following? What's so sad for all of us Again, the book Killer Tech and why I wrote it is because most people don't want to worry about technology. And a lot of people aren't wired to actually get excited about technology. And I don't think they should be completely odd man out with the new society that is being created around them. The common man, the person who has not been exposed to any of this technological wizardry in their education or whatever, is really being left. They're being left out of the new social order of things. And what is scary is that if you've not noticed, you can no longer speak to people when these tech companies wrong you. I'll give you my point on that because there's a huge point. And in the book, I talk about we need to locally start dealing with these problems and start creating interventions because if we don't, then one day we will be on the side of needing the help and we are going to regret that we didn't fight for it. So in LinkedIn, my wife got hacked, really got hacked. Now, she'd used all the principles of the book. So the good news is when she got hacked, she actually she had all of her passwords are different in all of her accounts. So we're only really worried about the LinkedIn account. So
Mm.
after 12 hours, we got all the account back. But I want to make it clear to the audience, we never spoke to a human being through this transaction once. We literally were chatting to get my point. There was no interaction with any human being. It was through chat forums and texting and emails. And you just
Yeah.
waited, and there was no human response to it on something that is extremely emotional. So the companies would say, well, they resolved the issue perfectly. But the truth is, my wife had a technologist, me, telling her things to say and do. And she was above average because of the relationship she had with me of knowing what to do.
Right.
But if
Right.
I was an average person, gee, it was cold, guys. It was literally so frigid, no humanity in any of it. And I think that's a shame. With all this AI and all of this ability to do things better, we don't care about when this technology goes bad and we create victims out of people. We have not put any thought into really remediation from the perspective of the human experience, how to make it easier for the human being to be involved with all of this. So, one of the things I'm trying to do is make it easier. And the way we make it easier is by creating accountability in our society, which we have not done. And I'll explain that. Think about something. Have you not noticed that you hear about all these cyber attacks when a company is hit and there's major infrastructure that goes down? Tell me the last time you actually really heard about CTOs or CIOs, chief internet technology people or whatever, getting actually fired. When do you actually hear people today resigning in the government when there's been a breach of security?